Happy New Year, friends! And I'm going to kick this year off with the Evans Gambit. And we're going to learn how to use this in your games, and you'll be getting to use it a lot. It's not like the Queen's Gambit where you have to kind of make it decide. This happens pretty often if you are either an intermediate player, like a rating, like any rating now these days, because a lot of people play the Italian opening, and that's how we get started with our gambit, the Evans Gambit. So I'll show you how you can quickly dominate black with this, and I'll cover all scenarios. So without further ado, let's get started. So we always first start with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5 in the Guccio piano game. And then we played this absurd looking move, b4. And we're trying to distract this bishop from the center so we can have some fun in the center. So now you'll get 3 common responses after he takes, and I'll show you what happens if he declines. So he takes, and he's a bit greedy. So now what's gonna happen? So he can either play after this move, after c3, he can either play this move, or this move. So what he can do, one possible variation, is he can just do bishop to e7, and let me show you how he gets quickly crushed in this variation. So we crushed, and now we have a center, we have full compensation for that lost pawn, and if he tries to check us with this, then what we can do is like this, and we have a very fortified center. We can even think on attacking this pawn right here. So we can always think about those. And what we can also do, so basically instead of bishop going back to e7, he can also do bishop to a5. What does this do? Well, what this does is he's retreating, and it's not like he just wasted a move, and we gain tempo on him because of this move. But he's back here. This bishop's not aiming anywhere. And it's also pretty weak. It's limited in squares, and you'll see why that's important. So what happens now is d4. We again do similarly that, but there's a problem. This thing is pinned. So we're gonna have to castle first. So he can do this. But let's look what happens if he takes. If he takes, then we castle. If he takes another pawn, then that's a bit too much, and we do queen to b3, attacking on this weak f7 square. If queen to f6 happens, which is pretty logical, then it won't really work, because after this move, if the knight takes, then we pin. Then we pin this knight, so this knight is neutral, and also it's kind of hanging, but we don't care. And if he does d6 to protect him, we do the same idea as before, and we still win a minor piece. So after that, we can do that. So what happens if he does after d4, d6 to protect this pawn? This is what can happen. So we still do the same move, attacking the weak f7 square. And now we do the basically kind of like the same thing. We have a fortified center and everything is pretty good. Everything is pretty okay. And if he tries to do this, then we can take, and that's what can happen. And we might actually, like, if he can't castle, like he can't really castle because I mean this is like the worst, but after he takes that, we can do this, and he can't do that, else it's checkmate. We can't do either this or this, else it's checkmate by this. So he has to do this. And now what we can do is add even more pressure and just do this. And like this is OP. This is overpowered. And now you'll see he's gonna have a hard time defending this position. And all the material is equal, but who has the better position? That's right, white has the better position. Oh, and also you might want a castle too, right? Because he might try to take advantage of the fact that this is pinned, but like it really doesn't matter if you lose another pawn, because like all these pieces are just spectators of this game. So that's why you don't have to worry. Now, what would happen if this happened? If he just retreated back here to his original spot, not here or here. So what would happen? Well, this is what would happen. d4 again, and then e takes d4, and then c takes d4. We have yet again a fortified pawn structure. And what you want to do now, like if he checks you or something, then you're going to do this. And after like trades are happening, or like after this, the moment you want to do this move, right? Because you want to, like, say, like, if he just, like, does some random move like this, then what we can do is this, and now he's gonna have a bit hard time trying to cover this. And if he tries to do that, well, again, we take. Now, he can do this, but again, like, it's not the best. Well, actually, it might be the best, because after this, we do this, and there's kind of like, after this, yeah, there's, you might want to try to bring your knight in, also. And now the computer is showing me huge advantages, and you might just want a castle right now, because, of course, this pawn. And, like, you might think it doesn't matter. Well, we're just castling because we also want to get our rooks into the game. And this king is pretty weak. It's equal material. Who has the better position now? That's right, white does. So, what happens if instead the knight takes? What happens if the knight takes instead of the bishop? Then we just castle. And you would do the same plans. Like if he does like something, before you castle, you do this. Once he retreats back, then you do this. If he does this now, then what you can do is this, 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 and after all the captures, the right captures happen, you'll eventually have a good position. So now you can first threaten mate. Threaten mate, and then once he does this, then you could do this, and this is like how it all ends. Or you can do some other strategy. It doesn't matter. You just do the basic game plan. Like, you just play your chess, and that's how you would dominate him if he tries to do this. And he can get easily punished. Like, if you want, like, we want this king to stay in the center of the board. So we can stop him from castling completely by moving this bishop, and in the long term, this diagonal is shut down, so the king can't castle kingside. And he'd have to opt for queenside, which would take a millennia. And hopefully you should be dominating him by that time, but he gets to castle. And what happens if the bishop declines the gambit? Well, then what you do is, again, just go for the same Evans Gambit game plan. And you should have some fun. Like, you should first do maybe this, then once retreat, like do this. And you can move this bishop wherever you want according to the circumstances and get that pawn back if you want to, because you also have a knight to go and attack this too. And if this is protected by the queen, then what you could always do is just this, and now it's guarded by your bishop. So there you go. You just started the new year off fresh and learned another new gambit, and now you have yet another arsenal in your weaponry. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!